Newsflash, Greg Bovino and Border Patrol are not leaving Chicago. We'll get into that in a minute, but I wanted to also get into the shutdown. This is so great. I mentioned Buffalo because I got a lot of great audio from there today. What did the Democrats, I've been asking the question, what did you get from the Democrat shutdown? What did you get? Well, people in Buffalo, New York are dumpster diving for food. That's right. Dumpster diving. Listen to this. You're going to hear a Democrat, Tim Kennedy, attack Trump and the Republicans for his shutdown that he supported. Meanwhile, what you're not going to hear is him saying he's getting into his grubby clothes to go dumpster dive with his constituents who he is starving.
This is a moral choice. A choice by the Trump administration built on cruelty. Shame on this president, and shame on congressional Republicans.
Shame on you, Tim Murphy, Congressman, and your party for starving people. Listen, they're literally dumpster diving. And also you're going to hear a mother or one of the guys that works at the food place, providing food aid, saying that a kid was asking, can I please take this extra hot dog and roll it up and give it to my mom because she's starving. This is what the Democrats, this is what you got, at least some constituents got. Starving, and dumpster diving because the Democrats cut off their food stamps.
That are enabling him to do this to the American people.
I'm standing here today, I'm horrified by what is happening in our country.
We know someone that actually was climbing into the dumpster to find food, and that just broke our heart.
Climbing in the dumpster to find food. That's what the Democrats got you, at least some people. Climbing in the dumpster for food. So I recommend that constituents, this Tim Kennedy, Congressman, get in to his jeans and jump in and help his constituents dumpster dive. Maybe he can find a couple chicken wings that are half-eaten. Maybe he can find a restaurant that throws away its food at the end of the night and help his constituents because he starved them.
We just actually had a young boy in our after-school program. We served hot dogs. He rolled up one of the hot dogs and said, "Pastor, can I take one home to my mom?" It's just...
Pastor, can I take an extra hot dog home to my mom because the Democrats are starving me, Pastor? Pastor, there's freaking people dumpster diving.
And this is reality.
Literally, the line was all the way out to the front desk area. People were still coming. And then we realized, I'm like, hey, let me just check my staff, check the inventory. We realized, we're going to run out of food.
That's thanks to the Democrats. That's what you got if you get food stamps. Here's another one.
This is not the way it should be. People should be getting fed. I didn't know this was a discussion.
We've obtained an emergency distribution of $130,000.
Buffalo, New York is where they're saying this too.
It may sound like that's a large amount, but when we think about the hurt and the despair that our community is facing, that's peanuts. We're working with a network of churches on the east side of Buffalo, Niagara Falls, and Lackawanna to restock pantries. We're hearing from our frontline churches that they're running out of food as well.
Well, don't worry. You can thank the Democrats because they're starving you. The same people that may have voted for the Democrats are the ones being starved by the party they may have voted for. What else? Look at this. You have stories because the Bills, again, I was in Buffalo, filling in for Buffalo, New York today from my home studio in Dallas-Fort Worth. But you have people that went in and they flew to Miami for the Buffalo Bills game, and their flights were canceled. One couple their flight got canceled out of Miami to Buffalo. So then they booked it was delayed, then canceled. Then they booked a flight out of Orlando, and they rented a car for $150, drove up to Orlando, and then that flight got canceled. So what did they do? They spent $1,300 to use a rental car to drive up to Buffalo, New York. There was a massive oversupply of rental cars now in the city of Buffalo, according to this article, is one of the effects that you got. That's what you got. For folks in that situation. How about this? Maybe you were one of the people who in the Wall Street Journal was featured today. One passenger we know sat at Newark Airport for more than 12 hours waiting for his flight to leave. Thanksgiving would have been a travel nightmare. Well, here's the problem. No flights will not go back to normal immediately if the government reopens. Travel experts are saying flights could still be in shambles. I heard this on Fox News, but here's another report. Flights could still be in shambles for a while. It will take time for airlines to get back to regular staffing. This could include Thanksgiving travel. This is what the Democrats got you. Woohoo! Yeah! One pilot told passengers to call their senators after sitting on the runway for 2 hours, but maybe you could be that one where you get 12 hours. Ooh, that's what the Democrats got you. Woo! You didn't even get a T-shirt. The Democrats shut the government down for more than 40 days, and all I got was this T-shirt. They're not even paying for your T-shirt. Thousands of flights are being impacted across the country. Also, I wanted to share this with you. Another article here. Worried about SNAP benefits impacted by the government shutdown. Here's how to find food for your family. How do I find food? I can't find food. I voted for a Democrat. The Democrats are starving me. Where do I find food? I want to hit this too because this is a woman being interviewed by a New York City or Long Island news outlet. Being interviewed either in Long Island or on the streets of Manhattan. I don't know which one, but here she is, and this woman is now starving. She literally tells on camera that she is starving. I'm not trying to be mean, but this is a morbidly obese woman who looks like she's 100 pounds overweight, and she is sitting there in a very nice-looking hoodie, like she's not poor or anything, even though she's getting food stamps apparently. And she's got her nice backpack on, her hair looks well done, and she is literally telling Channel 12, News 12 in New York, that she is, New York State, New York City area, or Long Island, that she is starving. Listen to this.
It's really bad. Danielle Grant is starving. I'm trying to see if I can get some food because we literally don't have anything to eat today or tomorrow. So I'm going to try to make it.
Dude, she is starving on camera. There's on so many levels, this is so wrong. Number one, you do not look like you're starving. Not trying to be mean and nasty, but she's like 100 pounds overweight. Number one, and you can see this on my Twitter feed, at Chris Crock Show, ChrisKrock. Number one, she's not starving because she's morbidly obese. Number two, if you're sitting there starving, are you not going to have are you not going to be embarrassed that you're sitting there saying you're starving on camera? Are you not self-aware of how this looks, saying you're starving, and you look like you're obviously in a first world country doing well, and you're overweight to the point where you're not starving, at least prior to this? And you know, my reaction to this on Twitter was, can she learn to hunt? Can somebody teach this woman to hunt? Because if you can't get food stamps and you're starving, dude, learn how to get some freaking food. Maybe you should do what my wife does. She buys and sells stuff on eBay and on Facebook Marketplace. She does very well. You can get stuff from estate sales like she does and make 5-10 times the profit if you buy smart. You know what you're doing. Maybe you get a second job. Maybe you get a third job. I mean, this is absolutely absurd and pathetic. So maybe she needs to learn how to freaking hunt. Get some squirrel meat. I don't know, ma'am, but this is insane. We are in a first world country. Unbelievable. Also, this coming in from CNN, Chief Congressional Correspondent Manu Raju. There are Democrats in the Senate that are glad 8 Senate Democrats broke ranks and voted for the Republicans to end the government shutdown with the Republicans. They're glad they stepped up to do so, says Manu Raju. A lot of members did not want to take the brunt of the criticism for voting yes. So they're secretly happy at their massive failure. Senator John Fetterman also telling the truth today, saying that the Obamacare subsidies weren't being taken away by the GOP. The Democrats designed these tax credits for the subsidies to expire. The Democrats wanted them to expire. This is their making. You knew this, and I knew this, but it's great to have Fetterman say that. He says Democrats designed those tax credits to expire at the end of this year. Now, maybe you don't mind all these tax credits. Maybe you don't mind paying for them, but I'm going to tell you right now. I've told you this before, but you may have missed it. These Obamacare tax subsidies, and Obamacare is a failure because the costs have gone up, up, up. In 2014, the average cost of Obamacare policy, according to Fox News, I heard it on Fox News, is in 2014 the average policy was about $267 a month. It is now $470-ish. The entire package, I'm sorry, was it $600 or $400? I don't know. It's gone up $200 to $400 a month. So Obamacare is not viable. It is not doable. It is destroying healthcare, and the multi-billion or trillion-dollar healthcare industry and insurance companies are the ones getting tons of money out of all this. I've also told you the subsidies only account for 4% of these prices of healthcare. It is nothing. But here's the biggest thing. Arizona, these subsidies that Obamacare subsidies that Joe Biden pushed into law during COVID, when people couldn't work, many people. Here's how much they subsidize. A family of 4 living in Phoenix, Arizona can be making $600,000 a year, and you're paying for their health care. You need to get a second or third job to get to work to pay for somebody who's making $600,000 a year with a family of 4 in Phoenix. They probably live in a 5,000 square foot house, and they're probably driving a Porsche Cayenne. You need to pay for their subsidies, because driving a Porsche, insuring it, is not cheap. So get off your duff and get to work. The Democrats want you to subsidize upper middle class people's income. Can you insurance? Can you believe that? $600,000, family of 4, and you're paying for their health care. West Virginia, married couple making $580,000 up to $580,000. You're subsidizing their health care. Get to work. I'm telling you, make $580,000 a year, and you're just a married couple. You're rich in West Virginia. Get to work so rich folk can get those subsidies. How dare you? Shut up and get to work. Get your second job. Get your third job. Vermont, a single fella, a single guy, single woman, whatever, one single person in Vermont can be making up to $180,000 a year, and you're going to pay for their health care subsidies. So when I ask again, what did you get from the shutdown? We know what you got. You got screwed. If you're a Democrat, what did they get you? You got screwed. And we all knew this is what was going to happen to begin with, period. Camp Mystic, 27 dead, beautiful little girls, and camp counselors who are also beautiful little girls, high school age and such. I told you that it was all Camp Mystic's fault. I told you they failed to have a plan. I told you they failed to monitor the weather. They failed to bring people out. I told you that they had those cabins. Some of them were built right in an absolute guaranteed government floodplain. They sought exemptions. And I told you the littlest of the little, the 10-year-olds, 8-year-olds, somewhere in that area, their cabins were built the closest to the, I want to scream, to the river, to the Guadalupe. Just because you are a righteous, God-fearing, God-believing Christian doesn't mean you can't be lazy, fail to plan, and negligent. And that's what, I hate to be rude, I have to be truthful. Dick and Tweety Eastland, Dick died trying to save those girls, but Dick and Tweety Eastland and their children, that family, was negligent, irresponsible, and led to the death of those kids. They failed to plan, and they got an exemption on those cabins that were right next to the river with those beautiful little girls. Sick. So the families, several of them, a bunch of them, are now suing, exactly saying what I told you months and months ago. They're suing for gross negligence and reckless disregard on the part of the camp's owners and affiliated entities. These young girls, said the lawyer, died because a for-profit can't put profit over safety. This is from WFA TV Channel 8. I think it's it's from their San Antonio affiliate. These young girls died at a for-profit camp for profit over safety. The operators built cabins in flood-prone areas, alleging it didn't spend time and money on safety training and tools. They also claimed Camp Mystic chose not to evacuate its campers and counselors, even as floodwater reached the cabins, until counselors demanded it. Yet plaintiffs go on to allege camp operators ordered campers and counselors in 2 cabins to remain inside while floodwaters came rushing through. The camp refuses to accept any responsibility for its actions, this lawsuit says, and their attorney, and failures to act, defiantly blaming this tragedy on a, quote, act of God that no responsible steps could have avoided. Total BS. It was negligence, and it was a choice. KHU, Houston-based television station, said that the Camp Mystic's emergency plan comprised of a single page that didn't address evacuation scenarios. It also stated all cabins are constructed in high, safe locations. That's a lie. So the families, these gaggle of families, are suing for $1 million in monetary relief, seeking a jury trial to get it all out. Amen to that. I agree. Period. One man who lost his daughter, who's suing, says this is an event that was preventable. It was caused by years of neglect, ego, and complacency. These children were put to sleep in a flood plan with no plan for a flood. Amen. Sorry to tell you that everything I said was exactly right with that lawsuit, and I believe they're right on. This is a great column in The Hill by a psychiatrist named Jonathan Alpert on Mamdani. This is so accurate. Very, very, very little columns that I read are this spot on and eye-opening. The psychiatrist writes in The Hill, and I tweeted this on my Twitter feed. You can see it if you go to at Chris Crock Show on Twitter, aka X. Mamdani does not comfort. Mamdani does not confront, he says. He comforts. Your feelings are valid, and someone else is to blame. Oh, come here. You're right. You've been taken advantage of. Somebody else is to blame. People feel understood. Resentment begins to sound like moral clarity. Hardship is framed as harm. Going through hardships is framed as harm. You're being harmed because you can't afford things. Disagreement is framed as injury. Personal frustration is framed as injustice. That's projection. You're projecting your problems and your feelings and your issues onto somebody else. Mamdani gives voters permission to externalize discomfort and believe their struggles were done to them. My struggles, what I'm going through, which we all go through struggles, were done to me. It's not my fault. Somebody did this to me. Mamdani gives voters permission to externalize the comfort and believe their struggles were done to them. If you are struggling, someone else must have taken too much. Billionaires are taking from you. That's why you're struggling. Not because of your refusal to get a second or third job. Not because of your refusal to live within your means or below your means, really. It feels righteous. It also prevents progress, this columnist says. Something I see in private practice. This is something I see in private practice. He says, one client spent months convinced that his boss was undermining him. The real issue is that he was avoiding risk. When he stopped outsourcing blame, his confidence returned. Growth happens when discomfort is confronted, not reassigned. Universities describe ordinary disagreements nowadays as trauma. He says Mamdani, he treats grievance the way a pop therapist treats trauma. Not as pain to work through, but as identity to embrace. Trauma, I'm a victim. I embrace this. I'm not going to work through it. I'm embracing it. Projection flatters both sides. Voters feel heard. Leaders appear compassionate. But it doesn't solve anything. When politicians reward projection, they train citizens to see themselves as patients and the state as the therapist. The result is dependency. The result is government is your God with a little g. I will provide everything for you. I will take care of you. The question is not whether Mamdani can empathize with frustration. The question is whether he can govern through frustration. Simple stuff, but very profound to me. Operation Midway Blitz in Chicago is not ending. Tricia McLaughlin, I think is her name, the spokesperson for DHS, says absolutely it's fake news. CBS 2 in Chicago was the first outlet to report that. They're not leaving, they're staying good. I talked to my parents tonight who are there, and they were very happy to hear that because we don't want them to leave. They're doing great work, and there's so much more to do. They've arrested 3,000 people in 2.5 months, I think it was. That's awesome, but we need to do more. So they're arresting and cuffing and stuffing like about 1,300 people every 4 weeks. Good, but we need more. 1,300, so that's like 400 and some odd every week. What else? More on the illegal update. ICE arrest illegal on U.S. Excuse me. This is one of these people where you say these Karens freak out and say that they're just arresting illegals just because they're illegal. Here's a guy who has no criminal record in the United States, but he is on El Salvador's most wanted gang members list. He's a, quote, non-criminal, yet he's on El Salvador's most wanted gang members list. They arrested him last month after he'd been convicted of driving without a license. He's a member of the 18th Street Gang, a foreign terrorist organization, is wanted in El Salvador for aggravated homicide, extortion, and drug possession, among other felonies. What else do we have? Here is a Moldovan woman, white, now mind you, because they say it's just brown and black people that are reporting. She is a convicted killer in Moldova who tortured and threw a victim out of a 9th window floor. Ninth floor window. There you go. That's who we want. These are people. We need to scream and yell at ICE and blow our rape whistles. Remember when the Democrats told you and the liberals on college campuses to stop rape? You shouldn't get armed. You shouldn't be allowed to have a gun. Or kids shouldn't. But get a rape whistle. That's literally what they're passing out. I saw in Chicago on the news last night. They're literally wrapping up rape whistle kits and giving them to illegals and to Karens. Here you go. It's whenever I hear those idiots blow those whistles, I laugh so hard. It's so stupid. My rape whistle. Latin Kings have sent out a new issue shoot on sight order to Chicago area officials, to ICE to shoot on sight. Little Village, that neighborhood where they got shot at by a guy in a black Jeep. They did take this guy into custody, according to reports today. Yesterday, when this happened, they threw paint cans and bricks at the ICE officers while that guy shot at them, rammed multiple times, and shots were fired at them. So I'm glad they got that guy in custody. I believe did that. Here's a great little story about a blonde Karen who was following ICE, driving all over the place with her Mustang Electric Mach, whatever it's called, and she was literally tailing ICE. She charges $10,000 per wedding. She's a wedding planner, an event planner. She charges $10,000, but in her spare time, she drives around and harasses ICE people on a lookout system, like a lookout. So she was driving around harassing them, blocking them, chasing them, and she even, when they started going after her, including a supervisor you can hear from in just a second with ICE, he did a great job handling her. She cowers like a little dog. She said, I'm just a mom. She starts shaking, but she was really bold in chasing after them until she was confronted. Here's the ICE supervisor who pulled her over.
Ma'am, you're impeding with the federal investigation. We have you on camera. We actually have news reporters with us in the vehicle. Your case will be referred over to Homeland Security investigations for prosecution.
I'm going to follow it up a little bit more. I got to jump ahead to where she's like, I'm just a mom.
Got it?
Please, I'm just a mom, please. I'm just
Kylie?
a mom. Yes, please, I'm just
You
a
are
mom.
just, you turn around and get out of here.
I'm getting out of here,
Here you go. Slow down.
She is known in the area. It's in Portland. She's known in the area, Portland, Maine, Oregon. She's known in the area for being a total crazy Karen. Her and her husband, there were some gay people or pro-gay people at a coffee shop, and the owner of the coffee shop doesn't care if they wear pro-gay stuff. He doesn't even care about that, but they put up on their own without asking him pride flags. He took them down, and she and her husband showed up, were screaming and yelling at him, saying he's a homophobe and all this kind of stuff. These are crazed, mentally unstable people. How'd you like her to be your wedding planner? No thanks. Hard pass. Faith-forward Texas Senate candidate follows porn actors. James Talrico, the superstar of the left in the state of Texas, where I'm sitting. Texas Democrat running for U.S. Senator has put faith at the forefront of his campaign, says Axios. He follows, though, he's a seminarian and a state house member, sensation in Texas politics by talking about how Christianity is the basis for his Democrat politics. Yes, abort children. He follows porn stars and real OnlyFans people. He follows 10 Instagram accounts of women who are popular porn actors, OnlyFans model, and have accounts on escort sites. He liked several photos of an Austin-based Instagram account holder on OnlyFans. She has a page on an escortbook.com site, #1 content management for the escort industry. So his campaign says, while James is unaware of how these women make money, their massive breasts are hanging out with barely anything cover them on their profiles. It's obvious they're porn stars and such. So he's following them. Yes, we're going to listen to you. I'm glad they busted him. Go pound sand. Plano is contemplating letting the people of Plano vote to end DART. DART, the mugger mover, the jail rail. I'm going to tell you right now, wherever the mugger mover and jail rail goes, particularly in the suburbs, there are panhandlers, criminals, vagrants, all sorts of bad stuff. Plano does not enforce. They do not enforce bums and panhandlers, aggressive ones. They do not enforce it. I see it whenever I go there. It is clear. You go to places like Richardson. Actually, I talked to a cop who does work in Dallas off duty. He says literally on the other side where Dallas and Richardson meet, he guarded a vacant building, office complex. He says they're looted all the time. He stands out there with his AR-15 to scare away people. They're stealing pipes, copper wiring, all that stuff. He says on the other side of where Dallas is, on the other side of Richardson, there's no homeless encampments. There's no panhandling. There's nothing. Richardson does. It knows its schnizzle and does it right. Plano, Ed Drain, the chief, super woke. He kneeled for BLM. They're a joke. Plano has fallen a long time ago. No thank you, hard pass. But yes, end the mugger mover, because they ain't going to protect you from the criminals. And it is Veterans Day. God bless every one of you that fought for us. God bless every one of you that served for us. The death tolls on some of the wars over the history of our country, the American Civil War, 620,000 killed. World War II, 405,000 killed. World War I, 116,000. Vietnam, 58,000 people killed. They could not fit on a single page of the New York Times all the bodies, all the people's names on some days. The Korean War, the often forgotten war, this was brutal to our soldiers. They were in horrible, sub-freezing, maybe even 0 degree or sub-zero temperatures, horrible frostbite, horrible conditions in mountains. And fighting, 36,000 of our beloved American soldiers fell. The Revolutionary War, 25,000. Gulf War, only 258. War on Terror, only, and every person counts, but 7,000. So it's a good perspective to get. But God bless our soldiers, and God bless you if you served. I thank you, and I honor you. And if I could see you right now face to face, I would hug you, shake your hand, and thank you for your service.